Hey guys, it's Caitlin. Thank you so much for watching. I am sitting in a random parking lot here to try and get this video filmed for you guys. I was tagged by the beautiful Patrice or Made Up Mama for the Confessions of a Fat Girl or Confessions of a Fat Girl's Diary. I'm not really sure what it's called because I feel like it's changed a few times, but she did tag me and I figured I would try and get something out there for you guys. I mean, it's been kind of therapeutic just to kind of sit and think about all the bullshit that I just think about the crazy stuff that I used to go to, the lengths that I used to go to eat food, my relationship with food. It has kind of opened my eyes to some things. So it's gonna be shaky. I apologize. They might hear the air conditioner because it's hot as hell. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of jump into it. So the first kind of confession or memory that I remember from when I was a kid and dealing with, I feel like it's just a food addiction. I remember when I was like 11 or 12, my parents had left me and my sister home alone. I decided to make a box of Kraft macaroni and cheese, and I had a bowl of it, and then I went and had a second bowl, and I was trying to like fluff up the macaroni and cheese so that, if somebody looked at it, they wouldn't think that I ate as much as I actually had. And then I just ended up eating the entire pan. As I was like going to put it away, that's like what I do a lot of times when I'm putting like leftovers away. I just continue to eat, and I ended up eating the whole pot. And I, washed the pot because I didn't want my parents to know when they got home. So I washed the pot, kind of hid the evidence, but I ended up throwing away the actual box in the trash. And so my parents got home, they saw the box in the trash. They were looking for leftovers and didn't see any. So they asked me about it. And then I really kind of got grilled. And I remember that kind of being the first confrontation I had over food and my eating, just having them come in, and they were just really upset. They were just telling me how, that is for multiple people, how disgusting it was that I was able to eat the whole thing. Why would I do that? It's not healthy. It's not okay. So I just remember that being like my first confrontation and really where I was like first ashamed of the food that I was eating, or the way that I was eating, the amount of food that I was eating. So that was kind of the first situation that I remember. I do remember when I was in like high school, my bedroom was on the first floor, everybody else was on the second, and so mine was like literally right down the hall from the kitchen. So when everybody would go to bed, I would go to the kitchen and I would look and see what I could eat. My mom used to buy the like Betty Crocker powder packets for like chocolate chip cookies and chocolate chip muffins and things. And I guess one night I was just desperate, because it sounds disgusting, but I was desperate for like chocolate. So I opened the packet, one of the powder packets, and I took a spoonful and I ate it. And I found that it was actually pretty delicious. So I used to take them all the time, bring them into my room, hide under my covers, and eat the food, eat the powdered packets with the spoon. And my mom, she would question like, where are these going, whatever. And then one night she walked in, she didn't knock on my door. I feel like there are way worse things that I could have been caught doing in my room alone, but she walked in and I was eating the packet, and she got really upset because, how gross is that? Like, there's no need to be eating at late at night. B, it's disgusting packet of powdered food. Like, why are you like so desperate to eat something right now? So I've definitely had some issues, confrontation growing up over my food, and I don't think that really helped anything. I'm certainly not blaming my parents at all for anything. It's my relationship with food. It is what it is. My kind of demons and battles to overcome, but those are just things that kind of stick out in my mind where I was kind of really embarrassed and ashamed of initially, of what I was doing. I also remember I used to babysit a lot for people in our church, and I would get so excited whenever I would go to a new family's house because, when somebody's babysitting for you, you're babysitting, people are always like, oh, help yourself to anything. And I would literally help myself to anything in their cabinets. Like, no joke. I was so excited to see what kind of snacks they had, what kind of cookies, chips, crackers, cereals I could eat. Like, I ate everything. And I was just like, I would get really excited when I had to babysit because I knew that I could get my hands on some interesting food. So that's really embarrassing to think about, like the excitement that I used to have over that. And then, obviously, when I first got my car, I would eat fast food all the time. Like, I would go to Wendy's and McDonald's and Burger King all the time, like literally no joke. and I would do it alone so that people wouldn't see the types of orders that I would order. If I was with someone, I would get like a basic cheeseburger as opposed to like the triple, I didn't really go that far, but the double cheeseburger that I would get, or the large value meal, I would be like, oh, I just need a small. I had a really hard time eating in front of people. I felt like if they didn't see me eating as much, they would realize that it wasn't my fault that I was fat. They would think that it's just, you know, I don't know what it was, but I figured I was fooling people. So that was, I never ate. At lunch in high school, I would never eat in the cafeteria with people. At dinner with my family, I would eat, but not a ton. I would always have to eat something after. Even in front of my boyfriend initially, it was really hard for me to get used to eating in front of him. I'm in a parking lot, like not near people, and people just pull right the fuck next to me, like really strangely. So yeah, eating in front of people, I would always hide it until I could be alone by myself and eat. I would, you know, just recently up until surgery, I would, like a lot of people said, make any excuse to run to the store so that I could go ahead and stop and get some food for myself. So I would always be the one to be like, oh, let me go grocery shopping. Let me go grab some milk. We need something for dinner. And between my house and the grocery store, there's a Wendy's. So I would stop and get 2 junior bacon cheeseburgers, a large fry, and a Diet Coke or a Sprite. I would go to the grocery store parking lot, literally sit there, park, shovel food in my face, go into the supermarket, buy snack foods for myself, buy food for dinner, go home and eat dinner, then dessert, and probably snack after. Like, I just ate an exorbitant amount of food, and it was always by myself. If I was going to eat something, like I can remember on my lunch break going to Subway, and I would get a 12-inch, a foot long sub always. And I would either eat the whole entire thing in my car. It's like 6 or 7 minutes from Subway to my work. I would either eat the whole entire thing with some chips and cookies in my car so that nobody at work saw me eating, or I would eat half of the sub so people thought that I was getting a 6-inch and not be so judgmental. So I would eat half of the sub and then bring it with me. I would also stop at the Walgreens right next door and buy a bag of, like a family-sized bag of peanut M&Ms or almond M&Ms. They sell like the Little Debbie cupcakes, like the quarter ones, like the oatmeal pies for a quarter still. They have like the brownies for a quarter. So I was like, hey, it's a deal. It's a steal. I gotta have it. So I'd buy multiples of those. I would literally come back to work with bags of food. And I always have a huge purse, so I would literally hide the food in my purse because I didn't want people to see through like my Walgreens bag to see what I was bringing in and what I was going to eat and kind of judge me for that. So it's always been about hiding food and feeling ashamed and knowing what I was doing. It was out of control, but not being able to stop and not wanting people to see who I really and truly was. So, you know, like a lot of people have mentioned, I mean, I've watched so many of these videos and I feel like we can really relate to each other. I really and truly feel like it's a side or something associated with the actual food addiction itself, is wanting to not be made public what your addiction is or how much you're really, succumbing to that or what you're eating or what your choices are. Because you know that it's not right, you know that it's not good, but you can't help yourself. And, especially with like SJ's video, I think it's incredible, just the video that she's posted recently about the secret eating, because when I started doing this kind of reflection, I realized how much of this I'm kind of still bringing into my life today after surgery. When you have the surgery, they're cutting out a portion of your stomach to help you, but they're not changing your mentality. They're not changing the habits that you used to have. That's on you still. That's your responsibility. Just because you wake up out of anesthesia with a smaller stomach doesn't mean this gets easy and everything's magically going to be different and change. It's not going to be. It's still going to be, for me, at least I know, it's going to be a lifelong battle of trying to get myself in check. Because like I said, just thinking of these things that I used to do, I can see things that I've carried over even into after surgery, and it's not even been a year and I'm already, struggling with certain behavior. So I think knowing and bringing these things to the forefront is a really incredible idea, to know what I have to struggle with and what I need to focus on and be mindful of in my behavior after surgery as well. So there's that. But yeah, so I mean, I would be stopping at gas stations almost every day so that I could throw away my fast food wrappers. When my kids would get in my car, if they saw a McDonald's bag, a Wendy's bag, they'd be like, oh, did you get food? Like, did you get us anything? And I don't want them eating the crappy food all the time, so I wouldn't get them food. But you're sure as hell bet your ass I'm gonna be getting the crappy food for myself. So if I went on my lunch break, I wouldn't bring it to work because I didn't want people to smell it. I would have to stop on a gas station on the way to get the kids. I wouldn't want my boyfriend to see what I was eating, so I would throw everything away. I didn't, like I said, my kids would always question me. They would always like put me on blast, like, what's that bag up front? You didn't get me anything? So I always would be stopping at at gas stations to throw away my fast food bags, which is awful. And like air out my car. I would literally air out my car before I went to get my kids, all the windows down, because I didn't want them to question. Even the little kids, like even my little babies, I didn't want them to like judge me. Like I'm so self-conscious of everything and I know what I'm doing isn't right, but I couldn't stop. Do you know what I mean? For me, food has always been my kind of intimate relationship. I think it has to do with when I was young, really young, my biological father left me and my mom, my sister, and I never had like a real relationship with him. Do I blame him for this shit? I might blame him because he's not a great guy. I hope he never sees this, but I think for me, my relationship, how do I put it? I knew that I felt really abandoned, and I knew food would never abandon me. I knew that food made me feel good. It gave me a sense of comfort. And so I really turned to food to calm myself down, to feel safe in a weird way. Like I've always had a really bizarre, this is like embarrassing for me to say, like the hiding food, like I get it. Like that's just something that I did. But for me, this part is like embarrassing. This is like my confession. I've always really felt like a really intense emotional connection to food. I knew food would never leave me. I knew food would never judge me. I knew food would never, it was always going to be there when I needed it because I would just go get it. So I think that just even from childhood, like I've always had a really weird, intense relationship with food. So I feel like I don't have a lot of friends that I go out with. I just don't. I'm not like super into that. Like I don't want to go out every weekend, especially with kids and a family. But even when I was younger, like I just wasn't into that. So for me, like an exciting Friday night would be, I would go to the grocery store. I would buy like a family size bag of Jack's cheese puffs. I would buy a box of Cheez-It Party Mix. I would buy a container of ice cream and at least 1 or 2 2 liters of Diet Cokes. Because if I had a Coke, it wasn't in a can, it was literally a 2 liter. I would drink it out of the 2 liter bottle because I didn't want the fizz to go away. These people are just driving me crazy. They're like in my face. So I would literally like just drink from a 2 liter bottle every day, all day. I never drank water. It was always soda. So I would come home and I would sit in my bed and I would sit in the dark and watch TV or YouTube, and I would eat. I would eat the Jacks first. I would eat the box of Cheez-Its. Then I would go on to the ice cream. And if I bought candy, I would have candy. But that was like what I looked forward to. Like that was an exciting night to me. I would almost look forward to the nights where my boyfriend couldn't hang out. This was even recently when I was with my boyfriend. I would almost look forward to the nights when my boyfriend couldn't hang out or we couldn't get together because I had the kids, because I knew that meant that I could just be one-on-one with my food. And like I've said in a previous video, like I will get upset if somebody eats my food. I will get upset if somebody eats the last of something that I was looking forward to, like upset to the point where I want to cry, like angry, and I'm in a foul mood for the rest of the day. I get really upset, I get really angry. Or like when my boyfriend was supposed to be gone and I bought food specifically for myself to be alone with food and he didn't end up going, and I got really angry because I didn't have my one-on-one time with food. Like that's embarrassing. That's not normal. Like that's not okay. But I have this incredible relationship and these incredible like emotional attachment to food. It's so weird. It's so bizarre. I mean, it still kind of is something that I deal with. And again, it's something I feel like I'm always going to deal with just because that's how it's been for so long. It's been 32 years of living like that and having these feelings, like not like I want to marry my food, like, and not like, those weird television shows that, people are like having sex with their car. I'm not doing that. Like I'm not, but I'm just saying like it just satisfies me on an emotional level to have this food. I would literally like, that would be my exciting night, if I was excited about a night, it was because I knew I could be at home alone, and I can eat as much as I want and whatever I want, which is really embarrassing. Another thing that I'm not proud of is, you know, I'll buy food for the kids like Pop-Tarts or Goldfish, and I will literally, when everybody's asleep, I would go downstairs and eat, I would go downstairs and eat the whole box of Pop-Tarts before they even had a chance to have one or opened it. Even though they asked for it, even though they wanted it, even though they like it, I would eat the whole box. And when they asked where it was, I would say, I don't know, you probably ate it, or maybe David ate it. I don't know what happened to it. I would totally lie because I didn't want them to get upset with me. Or with their Cheez-Its, I do that all the time. I still have problems with that, with their Cheez-Its. This is what I see like still carrying over with crackers and stuff. Like, I can't. I will buy, my kids love Cheez-It, Goldfish. So I'll buy like the big cardboard boxes of it. And before they even get into it, at night, that same night, I'm cracking it open and I'm eating it. And I'm bringing it into my room, bringing it into bed, and I'm eating it once my boyfriend's gone to sleep. My kids will say, where's all the food going? Where is it? How come it's going? How come it's almost gone? And I just say, you guys must be eating more than you think. I can't believe you guys, like, get out of the food. You guys need to stay away. And I know damn right that it was me that ate it. But I don't want to admit to it, even to a 6-year-old. I don't want to admit that I'm eating all his food, that I'm disgustingly, you know, involved with this food, that I have this, you know, urge to eat it and I can't stop it. You know what I mean? Like, that is still something that I struggle with. The Goldfish, the crackers, that's why I can't have them in my house, because you guys, when I was eating Ritz crackers, just even recently, because they are like a slider food for me, I could eat like half the box in one day. I was eating a box of those crackers in 2 days and going back and getting more. And like, that's the addictive personality. That's something that I, you know, really need to be careful of, because I know that once I start getting into that routine, like, I kept buying boxes. Every time I went to the store, I would buy a box. Before, I was doing really good with staying away, with, you know, walking past that aisle. But as soon as I kind of gave into that temptation, I couldn't stop. So yeah, that's something that I really need to be careful of. And, you know, my boyfriend, one time when I was drinking, like I said, I would only drink Diet Coke. That was it. I would have a 20 ounce or a 2 liter. That's it. And one night I was like, I need a soda. He's like, drink water. He never drinks soda ever. He's always into water. He's not much thinner than I am now, but he used to be a lot, you know, he was thinner than I was when we first started dating, and he's not into like fast food. He's not into that crap. He will eat some ice cream like nobody's business. He's like a champion at that. But, you know, he's never been into food the way that I was. So if I ever was like, oh, can you get me some food, like some crackers, some fast food? He'd be like, no, that's disgusting. If I won't even want a coffee from McDonald's, a sugar-free coffee, he refuses to get it for me because he says it's giving me cancer, and he will not be seen caught dead. He will not drive his vehicle through the McDonald's drive-thru. He won't be there. So, you know, he's never really been on my side food-wise. But even like one day I remember being like, oh my God, I need a Diet Coke. I need to go. It was like 9 o'clock at night. He's like, drink water, Caitlin, it's a night. And I was like, I can't. And he's like, that's the sign of having an addiction, when you're physically having to, like, you can't do something. You have to like go and get your whatever, your fix right away, no matter what time it is. You have to leave the house and like go out at 10 o'clock at night. That's an addiction, Caitlin. You have a problem. And I got really upset that he said that, but it was true. He was right, 100%. And I can remember, like I said, he's never really kind of been the same with food. But my ex-husband and I, we did not have a good relationship. Am I right? But we had kind of a relationship that worked because we were both larger, and we both kind of fed into each other, our addiction. And so whenever I wanted food, even if it was like 9 o'clock at night, I'd be like, dude, can you get me like Burger King or Wendy's? He'd be like, yeah, sure, let's go do it. So I knew I could always count on him to go out and do it. But I would never want to be the one going through the drive-thru, because I didn't want people to be like, girl, you do not need fast food. Look at those arms. Look at that gut. You know, I didn't want people to judge me again. But he would always take care of me. He would always do it for me. But even going grocery shopping, I would buy all the real food, and then I'd be like, oh, I didn't get any snacks. Can you go back and get it? Because I didn't want to be the one in the line being judged for my disgusting eating habits. So, yeah. So, yeah. Like I said, I'm still struggling with the attachment to food, the addiction to food. I'm not even going to put quotes on it, because it's a food addiction, you guys. It's real. And you know, it's not something I'm proud of. These actions are not things that I'm proud of, but it's something that I have to continuously be mindful of. And I think for the rest of my life, I'm going to have to really keep myself in check, because just like people who are alcoholics, they have to go to AA, and they continue to go to AA, and they continue to seek out support for years and decades. That's me. This is my addiction. And this is kind of like my AA meeting is YouTube, and my support group is you guys keeping me accountable and being able to share with you guys and listen to you guys. I think it's a really unique dynamic that we have here in this community, and I'm really thankful for it, because again, these behaviors are not just going to magically go away when you have surgery. It didn't magically go away for me. It's something that I'm always going to struggle with, and knowing that I have you guys and this kind of platform is really incredible. So I encourage you to think about these things, even if you don't want to post a video. I know that it's embarrassing and it's hard to put it out there, but just to think about it, because like I said, it really is eye-opening. It really is helping me to bring things to the forefront and into the light that I need to keep an eye on and keep myself in check for after surgery and for the rest of my life. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope y'all, I know you guys won't judge me, but for like randos who are watching this video like on the internets, on the YouTubes, please, you know, it is what it is. We all have our skeletons in our closets, and for me, unfortunately, food and my addiction to food is a big one of them. But, you know, it's really good to see kind of how far I've come since surgery. But again, to keep myself in check and to be real with myself that you are not cured. You're never going to be cured. This is something that will be an ongoing battle. So, ooh, excuse me. Thank you guys so much thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you so much. Like I said, I've watched these videos. Jody, Patrice, Made Up Mama, Renee did a video, SJ. These videos have been really incredible and really eye-opening. And again, I encourage you to not necessarily make a video, but to at least think about these things and spend some time on it. So thank you again for watching. I love you guys with all of my heart, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.